Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Stephanie and today I've got my awesome husband Jason here with me because today we are going to share our infertility story. Kind of take you back to where we started and then kind of up to today and where we're going from here. We've got one of the children in here, so hopefully she'll be quiet. Dogs. Those are our fur babies, not real children. Not yet. If it's your first time joining on this channel, then welcome, and make sure you click that little subscribe button below and let's get going and let's tell our story. One thing that I've learned throughout this whole process is that not everybody's journey is the same. Not everybody goes through the exact same thing, goes in the exact same steps. Everything is different just based on you and your spouse and or your partner and whoever is doing this with you, and so it's kind of like a crapshoot, and this is just our story and we wanted to be real and raw and just kind of let you guys in and know where we're at and where we're going. One thing that I've struggled with is that this is most of the time a very private pain that people go through, and because in the end you kind of feel like a failure. I believe that we're put on this earth by God and we're meant to get married and have kids, and so when you face struggles and you can't, then you just kind of feel like a failure. And so this whole process was just healing for me to just kind of work through and put it all down on paper and get it all out for future. I think my whole purpose in wanting to share these videos, one, to just document for us in the future, and two, to hopefully help at least one person, just to know that you're not alone. For me, I never thought that whenever the day came that I wanted to get pregnant and have babies that I would have a problem. My mom got pregnant really easy. She had super easy pregnancies and labors, and I just assumed I would be the exact same. So when we started trying and nothing was happening, it was kind of disappointing because I just thought that it would be the same for me. So Jason would come and get me for lunch periodically, and we would typically go to Chick-fil-A because I love Chick-fil-A. One day we were sitting there and we were kind of talking like, do you think we're ready yet? When do we kind of want to start trying? About June of 2019, and then the whole, you can't do that. So in June of 2019, I went and had my IUD taken out, and that was when we discovered that I needed to have a LEEP done. If you haven't seen that video, I'll link that up here. But having that LEEP done, that was the first kind of roadblock that we faced, because they told me that we had to wait a year to even start trying. So right from the get-go, we're decide, yeah, we're ready to do this, and then we get told, wait, but you can't. It's kind of like being ready, being at the starting line of the race, and you're ready to go, and then the coach says, hey, I just need you to go take a seat on the bench because we're not quite ready yet. Really defeating at that point. So when we decided at that wonderful Chick-fil-A lunch that we were ready to have a baby, I was way more ready than what he was. Found that out later. He said that he was, but
not really. I don't know if guys are ever really ready or not. I was. But I was just going along with it.
Yeah, he was going along with me because I said that I was ready. So I have the LEEP done, and I'm not sure like how long ago this was in the timeline, but it was very close to when they told us that we had to wait a year. But we had gone to church that weekend, and in that church service, it was a baby dedication that week. And even now, I'll still get emotional when those happen at church, just because I'm ready to be in that spot. But for him, it was different.
Drives me nuts. I feel like it's a television show. Everyone has a baby. We don't. And there we are. We're just waiting. It hits me. It makes me really furious, but I'm happy for all the babies and all the parents. But to me, it makes me pretty upset.
Yeah. So in a time of worship in that service, I just remember feeling this overwhelming kind of peace, and I just felt like God spoke to me and just said, not yet. And it was okay. I just had this sense of peace about me after that. And like he said, I'm super happy for all the families who get their babies. We're just patiently waiting for ours. Kind of towards the end of 2019, around like October, November, I just got the idea that maybe we should freeze my eggs. At the time, I had just turned 35. You are on your own fertility journey. 35 is kind of the magical age where they say that you are now in a geriatric state. You are kind of an old lady to be trying to have a baby. So I was like, well, you know, if we're gonna have to wait all this time, we know that the plan is that we would like to have 2 kids. So me being the type A planner person that I am, I just knew that we were looking several years down the road. So I was like, let's look into this and see what the process is. Got a referral, called my REI doctor, and it took us 3 months to get in, which I'm kind of glad that we went ahead and did that. But we had our consult with them. In that consult, he said that, well, being we were already married, the best thing would be for us to freeze embryos. In terms of the cost, when you're talking, you know, all of that money, it really wasn't that big of a difference in our eyes, that we would rather do the embryos rather than just freezing my eggs. We knew that we would have a better shot down the road. So that's the kind of the option that we chose. After talking with the doctor and that consult, I kind of weighed back and forth. It wasn't a clear shot, yes, let's for sure do this. We were gonna have to wait regardless until my cycle started again. We had about 2 weeks in between that to kind of discuss and talk about it and make a decision. A lot of praying happened in those 2 weeks, and we ended up deciding that we were going to go ahead and go forward with it. So we got everything, started all of the blood work, all of the ultrasounds, did the semen analysis for him. He loves that part.
That is, it is, guys that have to, I know there's probably lots of guys out there that have to go through that. I wasn't, she would kind of research all this stuff she's going to do. I would be like, okay, yeah. And it flew right through that I was gonna have to do that, and then I had to back up. I'm like, what, I'm doing what? Yeah, it's very, I don't even know how to put it into words. It's embarrassing, because you're like, hi, I'm here to, And then, most of the time you're in there, nurses are in there, and they're all busy, and they're loud, and, you know, you might be in the middle of doing the thing, and then you hear laughing. You think there's a camera somewhere, they're laughing at you or something. So it's nerve-wracking, and so then it really feels like you don't produce what you need to. So you walk out of there discouraged. You walk out of there just embarrassed, discouraged, everything. And, I mean, I guess you just kind of have to suck it out. I mean, because you'll see, there was other guys in there too that helped. But you kind of, it's like when you're walking out the door, you're kind of getting like a little, good luck. But yeah, it was rough for me.
Yeah. So after we got all of the results kind of back from my blood work, my ultrasounds, his analysis, the kind of the best decision that they said was for us to go the ICSI route, which is where they take his sperm and they take my egg. They'll take a little tiny needle and they'll insert the sperm into the egg to try and help the egg fertilize. So the traditional way is where they take the sperm and the egg and then they put them basically in a little petri dish and they just hope that the sperm know what to do. And so we chose give the little guys the best chance that they could. So we chose to just kind of stick them together. One of the reasons why we chose doing the ICSI method was because, one, it has a higher success rate. It's got a 50 to 80% chance of fertilizing that way. And so we liked those odds, but 2, they found on his semen analysis that his count was normal. It was just kind of on the lower end of the normal. So, but they said that was fine. And the motility was just slightly less than normal. So they said just to make sure that we get kind of the best chance we can, ICSI would probably be the best route, and we kind of agreed after that.
And with those results, it led to other things that we tried out now that have been almost a year now. May get into that to another video.
So we ordered all the meds, got all that in, we were all ready to go. This is again in February, kind of right at the end of February of 2020. So you kind of started hearing about COVID. The closer and closer we got, the more I got a little anxious about it. The week before we were supposed to start, started working from home. Again, I was getting super anxious about this, and he was not, and kind of thought I was a little nutty. And because at that time you didn't really know anything about COVID. You didn't know how severe it would get if you got it. I was just very, very anxious. I prayed for probably 2 weeks. I need a sign. If we're supposed to go through with this and we'll be okay, then that's fine. But if not, like, please just close that door. I need a really big, hard, closed door. And I just prayed for that so much. So the day before we were supposed to start our shots, the doctor called and said that they were stopping all new cycles. For me, that was an answered prayer. I was at peace with it. It was fine. I knew that we would be able to start. The meds weren't going to expire anytime soon. They were fine. So it was just a very peaceful thing for me. I was just very relieved. Not so much for him.
I don't think you even said that you were at peace with it.
Yeah.
To me, it's just yet again something else happening. Just another roadblock. So when that happened, I was like, well, what's next?
He's kind of always waiting for the other shoe to fall.
Yeah.
So May rolls around and the restrictions for elective procedures are lifted. And so because I was up to the starting point, it was very easy for me to get back on a schedule and get back going again. So we just had to wait for my cycle to start, called the doctor, we got back on birth control, and then we were ready to go. Got a new calendar. It was no big deal. At the end of May, June, we started with our shots again. In the middle of June last year, we did the retrieval. From that, we had 10 eggs. We had 9 that were mature, 8 that fertilized. End result, we ended up with 5 embryos. Those were amazing stats for only having basically 10 eggs at the start, because you typically lose 50% at each stage. We also chose to do the PGS testing on the embryos before they were frozen. It's controversial, and I struggled with that decision at some point too. Unfortunately for us, none of those embryos came back normal. So while we were kind of doing this, and kind of back up, so we kind of chose to do the IVF way before we could even really start trying, all for baby number 2. So we were going into this thinking, we'll wait for our year, we'll hopefully get an embryo, maybe 2 embryos, and we'll just kind of tuck those guys away for baby number 2 down the road. It'll take the pressure off. We won't have to feel like we're rushed. So that was kind of our whole reason for wanting to go forward with this. So then whenever we got the results and we had none, that was just heartbreaking, because we had gotten our hopes up before the results came back and thinking that we had 5 and then we really had none. It just crushed us at that time. So we decided that we're just gonna kind of focus on what we could control. I went back to the doctor for another 6-month checkup in June, right after retrieval, and said everything was fine. We were clear to try naturally on our own. So that's what we did. So we started doing the OPK tests, timing the sex and all of that fun stuff. Not so fun. There's not a lot that's sexy about being like, hey babe, it's time, let's go.
Yeah. Yeah, on that sex schedule, it was a work schedule that's really way different. I mean, practically it's pretty much working nights, I guess, and really odd days off. But I would be eating dinner, set, ready to go to bed, go to sleep, and here it's like, oh wait, we got to do this. But I want to sleep instead, you know, and then
it becomes work at that point.
Yeah, it became work. It seemed like some things fell off and we had to kind of regroup and come up with a better plan.
Yeah. I would take in the pregnancy tests, and every time they were negative, which was just crushing. Because of my age, January 2021 was technically 7 months for us, and I went ahead and I called my OB and asked her the steps are that we needed to do. So we went in and did more blood work, another semen analysis for him. Yay!
That was the worst one too.
Yeah.
I won't get it. It's bad.
And then I had my HSG test. For my backstory, I have had 2 cyst removal surgeries on my ovaries. So I had already been told way back at the beginning of our starting to date that I may have trouble getting pregnant because we thought that my tubes may be blocked. So I was very excited to have the HSG test done. I made a video on that and I'll link it up here so that you can check that out if you'd like. But those results came back normal, which I was completely shocked about. So after getting all of that back, fertility coordinator with my OB had telling me what we thought we were going to be doing. So when I went into the consult, I went in thinking that we were going to be trying Clomid with an IUI. I thought that was great. Hopefully my tubes are nice and open, because they say typically with your tubes open doing an HSG, it makes you more fertile. So after I told my OB what was going on and that we'd actually already done an IVF cycle and the results of the cycle, she kind of recommended that we don't try an IUI and that we go straight back to IVF. For me, I felt like a failure as a woman because I can't get pregnant. That's what we're supposed to do. And I called him super upset. But on that same note, I had been praying for a clear path. I didn't like the if game. Well, if this happens, then we'll go here. And if this happens, then we'll do this. And if this happens, then we'll do that. I hate that game. That's a lot of the game that you play when you're trying to get pregnant. And especially if you start running into problems. I needed just a clear path. That's all I wanted, was just something to tell us this is where you need to go. And we got that. And so for me, looking back on it, I was very thankful because we got our clear path and we know where we're going now. So today we are back on IVF. We are at the beginning stages, so we'll have more videos of that to come. And something that I had to learn myself is that the infertility that we face is not what defines us. We will be perfectly happy together with our little fur baby, no matter what happens. There are other methods to have kids, so this doesn't define us. To share what's going on with everybody and ask for your prayers. The thing that we hold on to is that we know that God's faithful. He's got our little babies up there and he's just not quite ready to share them with us yet, and that's okay. He knows our path, he knows our journey, and he's got a reason why we got held back, why we struggled. There's a reason for it. We may not always know the reason. We may not ever know the reason. We trust him and we know that he's got us in his hands and he's guiding us every step of the way. All right, guys, that is it for us today. Thank you so much for watching. I know this was a little bit longer video, but I appreciate you sticking around and hearing us out.
I'll try to say more next time. I'll be getting more involved with the more exciting stuff that's coming.
Yeah, my man of very few words, as the doctor likes to say. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe below. Leave us a comment if you've been on your own IVF journey or IUIs or anything like that. Let me know. Just know that you have a community here. You may not see us or know us, but we are here for you, and we are praying for each and every one of you that are watching on your own family journeys and in life in general. Thank you for my hubby for coming on here today. Have a great week, guys.
Join us!
If it's your first time joining us on... What were you doing?
Making a devious smile.
Okay, smile for real. If it's your first time joining us, or joining me on my channel, then welcome. Why? What did you do?
Move the face.